Hey, Algebra 1, Mr. Catlin here with your cool down help for lesson number 6. We're looking at equivalent equations, and we have a box of beans with rice in it. The box has weight to it. The beans has so many bags of them, and you got a 4-pound bag of rice in the box. So all of this combined together makes a total weight of 25.6 pounds. So one way that we can represent this is 0.6 for the box plus 15 times B to represent all of the bags of beans and what that would weigh, plus the 4-pound bag of rice, and that will equal the total. So that equation represents everything. And so the first question is like, all right, this equation represents the story. What does the solution to the equation represent? Well, the solution would be the number that we can plug in for B that would make this true. And B is representing the weight of a bag of beans. So the solution would be the weight of a bag of beans, that makes the box weigh, let me get that in there, 25.6 pounds. That's what the solution is going to tell us. And there's only one number that's going to make that work because there's only one variable in this equation. There's not two like we've seen in the past. So let's go on to number 2. Number 2 is going to have us ask if these other equations that are written are equivalent to the original one. And to show that, I'm going to write down the original and do stuff to it and see if that matches what we had there. Let me undo that because I don't like the way that looks. Sorry. There we go. Okay, so 0.6 plus 15b plus 4 for the rice bag equals 25.6. Okay, there's our equation. Let's see the first one. Equation A is looking very similar, but it looks like they just dropped the 0.6 from this side. But if you're going to drop the 0.6 from this side, you need to drop the 0.6 from the other side. And they did not do that. So that is a big no-no. That equation is not going to be equal. So we do not want to select that one because they didn't do it to both sides. The next one looks like they did do it to both sides. They dropped the 0.6. So if this 0.6 is subtracted from this side over here, we got to subtract it from the other side over here. And that would leave us with the equation that we have for B. So that one's okay. That one we definitely want to select. Looking at the next one, it looks like they are taking the entire side, 0.6, 15b, and 4. They're taking that entire left side, and they're multiplying it by 3 by using the distributive property. And that's okay. You can do that, but you just got to make sure you do it to the other side. And it does look like they have done that to the other side because 25.6 times 3 works out to be 6 and 7, 76.8. So that one's okay. It's okay if you're going to multiply everything as long as every term in the entire equation gets tripled. Good to go. All right, let's look at D here. It looks like they have completely dropped the 6/10 and the 4, leaving only 15b remaining. But the right side of the equation has not changed. Well, if you're going to take stuff off from one side, it should affect the other side because you're losing that weight from the left. You should lose it from the right. And so without that, I'm going to say that this is a non-equal one because of that. And then lastly, as you can see here, I'm going to work this one out. If you take 0.6 and combine it with its like term of 4, you really have 15b plus 4.6 equals 25.6. So you combine those like terms. And what equation E has done is they've come along and said, you know what, let's simplify this. Let's take away the 4.6 from this side. Let's take away the 4.6 from the other side. And what that's going to do is leave us with a 15b on the left, which is what they're showing, right? And guess what? 4.6 taken away from 25.6 is. That turns out to be 21 on the nose. And so that one works. That one's okay because they're doing the same thing to both sides. You can distribute, just make sure that you're doing the same thing to both sides. You can take away, you can add to, but do it to the other side as well. If you try like A and D and you don't do it to both sides, you're not going to have an equivalent equation. And that's the big takeaway from that lesson. Hope this was helpful. See you guys tomorrow.